Hey everyone! Today I'm going to tell you about one of the most important and dramatic moments in early Christian history. The Council of Nicaea, which happened all the way back in the year 325. You might think that after Emperor Constantine made Christianity legal, everything got peaceful and easy for Christians. But actually, what happened next was a huge wave of disagreements, arguments, and even fights within the church itself. Right after Christianity was accepted by the Roman Empire, a huge debate started about something really big, who Jesus actually was. Everyone believed there was only one true God, but people were confused about how Jesus fit into that belief. Some people said he was equal to God. Others said he was created by God, and that led to a lot of tension. At the same time, there were many different philosophies going around. Some thinkers believed that God was just a distant force, something like fate or chance, not a personal being. Others believed in strange stories about gods that were supposed to help connect people to the divine. One of those was the god Mithra. People believed Mithra could act as a bridge between humans and God. But Mithra was more like a myth, a character from stories, not someone real like Christians believed Jesus to be. Christians had a very bold and unique belief. They said that Jesus was not just a good person or a holy teacher. They believed he was fully God and fully human at the same time. This made him the perfect bridge between people and God. But not everyone agreed. Some groups believed Jesus was just a normal man like anyone else. Others thought he only seemed to be human, but really wasn't. Church leaders pushed back against these ideas, using what was written in the Bible to show that Jesus was both human and divine. But even after that, another big question came up. If Jesus is really God, and there's only one God, then how does that work? How can Jesus be God without there being more than one God? Some people tried to explain it by saying God just acted in different roles. Sometimes he's the Father, sometimes the Son. That idea came from a group called the Sabellians. But many people thought that was too simple. If Jesus was just another form of God, it made him feel less real, as if he wasn't his own person at all. That's when a priest named Arius, from the city of Alexandria in Egypt, stepped forward with his own theory. Arius said Jesus was not equal to God the Father. He said God had always existed, but Jesus was created by God later. Arius believed there was a time, way back in eternity, when Jesus didn't exist yet. This idea was very different from what Bishop Alexander, also from Alexandria, was teaching. Alexander believed Jesus had always existed alongside God the Father. Once Arius started sharing his ideas, the church in Alexandria broke into two groups. Some people supported Arius. Others stood with Alexander. The disagreement got really serious. People across the city and even beyond were talking about it constantly. It wasn't just something scholars debated. Regular folks got involved too. Even at the marketplace, people would argue about who was right. Arius even wrote songs about his beliefs, using simple tunes that people already knew, so that his ideas would spread quickly. Soon, you could hear people singing about theology in the streets. Things got even crazier. The arguments turned into shouting matches. People got into physical fights about who was right. Families were divided. The entire church was starting to split over this one issue. When Emperor Constantine found out about all the chaos, he became very concerned. He had hoped that making Christianity legal would help bring the Roman Empire together. But instead, he saw Christians arguing and turning against each other. So he decided to do something big. He called a meeting with all the top Christian leaders. He wanted them to come together, talk it out, and find peace. This meeting would go down in history as the Council of Nicaea. The council was held in a small town called Nicaea, which was near a lake in what is now the country of Turkey. Constantine paid for the travel and gave the bishops comfortable places to stay. Over 300 bishops came from all over the empire. Most of them came from the eastern side of the Roman world because that's where Christianity was strongest. Only a few came from the west because Christianity was still spreading there. At the Council of Nicaea, the bishops spoke in Greek and wrote their decisions in Greek too. The discussions were deep and often intense. Some bishops were very humble and came from small villages. Others were famous and well-educated. Many had suffered through past persecution and still had scars or injuries to show for it. Bishop Alexander brought along a young deacon named Athanasius, who would later play a huge role in defending the church's beliefs. And yes, Arius also came, standing confidently with his powerful supporters, ready to defend his point of view. And on the day the meeting began, the hall was quiet and serious. Long benches ran along both walls, and the bishops sat with their helpers all around. In the center of the room, on a special chair, lay a copy of the Gospels to remind everyone why they were there. At one end, there was a raised seat for Emperor Constantine. When he entered wearing his silk robe and gold crown, everyone stood in silence. They later said he looked almost like an angel, with eyes that sparkled and a strong, steady presence. He wasn't sure at first whether to sit or stand until someone motioned for him to take his place. After a warm welcome from the church leaders, Constantine spoke softly, asking everyone to remember their duty and work together. Then the council officially began. Historians aren't sure how long they met each day, but they all felt the weight of what was at stake. Early on, Constantine asked the bishops to hand over any letters of complaints they had written to him. He gathered them all and threw them into a fire right there in front of everyone. He said, "Stop sending these angry letters. Put aside your quarrels and work like brothers." When it came time to discuss Arius's ideas, it became clear most bishops found his teaching too strange. They even played some of Arius's songs, and people covered their ears and winced at lyrics that said the sun was created and not eternal. Eusebius of Nicaea tried to read a version of the creed that matched Arian beliefs, but the bishops tore that page to shreds. Next came the hard task of writing a creed that everyone could agree on. They looked at the short statement used in the West, called the Apostles' Creed, and several longer local versions. One by Eusebius of Caesarea sounded good, but guess what? Arians liked it too. So the bishops knew it wouldn't solve the problem. They realized the real fight was over the essence of their faith. If Jesus was not the same substance as God, then Christianity would slip back into believing in many gods, just as people once worshipped gods of Greece and Rome or the distant gods of Platonic philosophy. They worried that if they allowed Arius's teaching, they'd soon open the door to worshiping those old gods again. So the Nicene Fathers chose a word that would settle the debate: homoousios, meaning of the same substance. It wasn't in the Bible, and it had even been rejected before when another heresy was discussed, but it fit perfectly. They added the phrase, "of one substance with the Father," to their creed to show that Jesus is fully and truly God. When the final creed was read, "We believe in one God, Father Almighty, and in one Lord Jesus Christ, begotten not made, being of one substance with the Father," the room filled with relief and cheers. Those who still backed Arius were excommunicated on the spot, and Constantine sent orders to exile them. A few smaller issues were quickly wrapped up, and then the council was adjourned. The bishops went home confident that they had settled the greatest debate of their time. What began as a fight in Alexandria had ended in a unified statement that would shape Christianity for centuries to come.